Welcome back to another episode of the Cameras and Coffee podcast. I'm sitting here with Josephine Franzen, and she's from Designs by Josephine, and we're going to talk about branding and web design for photographers. So welcome, Josephine. I am super excited about this.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I know it's one of those things we were talking before we hit record, and it's something where we never realize how long we're following somebody.
It's
And I
true.
was saying that I was like, what? When did I start following you? Was I looking for show it templates? I don't know. Um, so
Well, here we
we
are.
got connected. Yes,
We are
and
connected.
yes, and we are talking about web design. So this is really exciting. Um, I am constantly changing mine. um, I went through a major probably like branding crisis, I guess is what you could call
Yeah.
it, in my busiest of seasons, which is not the best, but sometimes you just need a creative outlet. And that was where I was seeking it, I guess. So before we get started, are you a coffee drinker? I'm curious.
Oh, yes, I'm a coffee
Yes.
drinker.
I had a couple cups already this morning, and then I was like, I'm going to go make one before we start the show. So I have my coffee and my water.
Yes.
Usually it's a trifecta. I have juice in there sometimes too, but today it's just
Water and
coffee.
coffee, that's what's run the day.
Yes. And how do you take your coffee?
I'm such a boring coffee girl. I go for a cappuccino, a regular one, but it's you can always trust a real cappuccino.
Nice. Well,
So
and I'm sitting here with a black coffee. So talk
yeah,
about original.
exactly. Nothing
It's
extra,
like,
just as it is.
no, there's days where I'm like, oh, I want a little sugar in mine, but today it's just straight up black. So it's a Monday when we're
It's a
recording
Monday.
this. So I am definitely needing it. Um, okay, so let's talk about you and kind of let listeners know a little bit about you. Yeah, let's talk about photography first. So you are a photographer, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes. And how long have you been doing that?
Oh, if we go back for real, it's already back to high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but the truth is, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a journalist. So
Ooh,
that was my main area. And as that is connected to media, we also had to read other or have other media related subjects. There are photography, and
okay.
I hated it. It was the worst.
Well, yeah, because there's no creativity. They're telling you how to do it, you know?
Exactly. And it was like film and dark rooms and
Yeah.
everything was so technical. It was, as you say,
Yeah.
no creativity. Everything had to be so correct. So I just hated it, even if I proceeded for 3 years doing the classes, but it was not my favorite.
Aw.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
man.
then if we speed a little forward, I got pregnant with my first child, and just in this pregnancy, I felt like, oh, I need to capture everything that has
Mhm.
happened now, and felt like I need a camera. That was like an urge from deep inside, like give me a camera. So we got myself a camera, and from that day, I took photos of everything and everyone that came my way. I think
I
everyone can
love that.
relate to that phase when you
Yeah.
are
How
getting
long ago was your child born?
12 years.
Okay. I have a
So she's
15-year-old. So, yeah, it was definitely still the camera stages before, I mean, maybe camera phones were becoming a thing,
yeah, no,
but they were not great.
they were not
So,
great. I remember
yeah.
the first iPhone was released just before she got born. So
Yep.
I'm that old, or
I know, right? We don't dare say.
no.
Oh, man.
No, so from
Yeah.
there it is, and a few years back, I just was tired because I was a family photographer, but running around, and I live in Sweden. Maybe we should mention that I live in Sweden, and I don't have a studio, so I always
Yeah.
had my session outdoors. And
Okay.
here,
Yep.
especially at this time of the year, we have like 6 hours of daylight, which is not
Yeah.
that doesn't really fit. So and running around with children in the forest, as I'm always out
Yeah.
often in the forest. I had to run around, and they were running around. And then when I should edit, I had lights from all different angles,
Oh,
everything. It was
yeah.
a mess when you should edit. So it's like, what is standing still? It's like, a pregnant mom. So
Right?
then I decided
Exactly.
to only focus on maternity, and that is also something I
Mm,
can do the year around. Children is not something that
yeah.
wants to, yeah, parents don't bring out kids in the forest in the winter, but if you're pregnant
Right?
in the winter, you go out there anyway. So that was a
I
very good
totally
decision.
know. Yeah, I totally know what you mean because it's definitely one of those things where I started with family photography too, and it was like
Yeah.
I was teaching preschool back when I started, and so, like, they were all my clients, They all were all like, "Yeah." But, yeah, I totally get it because when I started, honing in on seniors and weddings and couples, I'm like, "It's so much easier because you can put them somewhere and they don't move."
Yeah. Yes, and they are standing where you
So
tell them to stand.
yes. So
They
you're like,
look at
"Yeah,
the way you
how
tell
can
them to
I"
look.
Yeah, you're like, "How can I make this even better?" It's not like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is what I got. This is what I have to deal with." So, totally get that. Oh, man.
Yes.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. So,
So
yes, I'm a
yeah,
maternity photographer, you can say.
love that.
And if we move forward a little bit too, we had a pandemic came.
Yeah,
I think everyone remember the pandemic or
right?
2020. Yeah.
If you don't, I don't know where
Uh,
you were, under a rock. But
no, I was
yeah.
definitely here, but I got a lot of time all of a sudden, and I always had a dream of designing, or I've always loved it. Also, if
Mm,
we talked about high school before. I also had graphical design at the
mm,
time. Also, it was not only photography, and I loved that class. It was actually we were a couple of students that asked to have extension lessons, so the teacher were
oh,
there at the evening on their own time to give that to us. So
yeah,
I've
that's
always loved
awesome.
that. And also when I had or have my photography business, I always had the best good looking contracts and invoices, and everything has
Yeah,
been top notch. So, and I was very, I wanted to do something more with this, but I couldn't really find an
yeah,
outlet for my design needs because it didn't fit my photography business. So when the pandemic came and I had a lot of time, I was like, okay, let's open an Etsy shop and sell some design templates. Let's do it and
yeah,
have it as a passive income thing when the world gets
yeah,
back to normal.
right?
So I did, and that is now Designs by Josephine. It was like it
Love
grew
that.
very, very quickly from there, and the world did not really get back to normal. So,
Nope.
uh, no, I
Or very, very slowly.
very slow because I remember I think this was a decision I took in May and June 2020, and I thought I had
Okay.
like, yeah, over the summer to have this up and running. So I was kind of stressed because that was they said on the
Yeah,
news, like after summer
right?
everything is fine. Yeah. So I was
Exactly.
very, very rushed. But I had my Etsy shop open. I created some templates, and yeah, the world it wasn't back at normal after the summer. So, and people started to reach out, can you do this custom work? Can you do this?
Mm,
And everything just moved on from there. So, and
yeah.
then all of a sudden, because in the beginning I was doing everything, I didn't have any structure. My goal was just to have an Etsy shop and do something.
Yeah,
So when things started to get a little bit more busy, I was like, okay, I need to take a decision. What am I going to
yeah.
do with this? And then I niched down to work with only photography or photographers
Okay.
and doing resources for them only.
Yeah, I mean,
And
those growing pains, you definitely learn from them.
oh yes, you
And I'm sure
do.
there are many times I have photographer friends where we're just crying it out, and I'm always the voice of reason where I'm like, "Okay, what are we learning from this?" And they're like, "Stop it. I just wanna quit."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, you just need to learn to rest."
Yes,
So
exactly.
so
No,
it's,
it's
yeah, one of those moments. I get it.
yeah, no, everything. I mean, I'm very grateful for the pandemic, with due to respect to everyone that was heavily affected and
Yeah.
had losses, of course. But to me, I'm very grateful because it really forced me to go for a dream and a goal, or something I wanted to do for a very
Mm.
long time. So for me, I'm very
Yeah.
grateful. But I also hurt my back a year ago. I got a herniated
Oh.
disc, which made me stay in bed for over 6 months. I
Oh my
couldn't walk.
goodness.
So, but that was also, I see that as a blessing too, because that's when this business really took off. Because then
Okay.
I couldn't have photo sessions. I was in bed rest.
Yeah.
But I could have my laptop with me. So from
Yeah.
there, I really shaped this business to, if I had started to niche down before, this was where everything happened
Mm.
when I was in bed, sick, feeling sorry for
Yeah.
myself.
Well, it's crazy how you can be in a moment of pause, and that's when most of your creativity comes out. You know,
Yes.
it's like when you finally get that rest, it
Yeah.
opens up an avenue of where you can
I
like
think that
flourish
is
in other
connected.
ways.
Yeah, I think it's connected to that you are cut off from so many other things that is distracting
Yeah.
you, because
Mhm.
creativity is coming from within. It takes you can't just push a button on off. It's
Oh,
there. You need to bring
believe
it
me.
out.
So many think that's what photographers do, but
Yes, exactly. Wake up a morning. Now I'm gonna do the best of me. My best work is going to happen today. It's just coming from a place where you are feeling good. They don't understand it. It's a
yes.
process.
Mhm.
So I
Exactly.
think
Oh my
both
goodness.
during the pandemic that you were disconnected from the world. You didn't have a social
Mm.
life. It was so many other distractions that was removed. The same thing when I was sick. I just had myself to focus on, and that is also a lesson that I learned, that now in my everyday life, when I don't like to say the world normal, but for me the world is
Right?
now, this is my new normal, but I'm trying to disconnect and having the time for myself, because I know I
Mm.
need it for my creative process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that's a
big
really good thing
life
to mention.
lessons. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people need to hear that too, because I think there's such a stigma of you got to keep going for it, you know? And
Yeah.
sometimes it's times where you just need to rest and
Yes,
figure
it
things
is.
out. And so,
Yeah.
no, that's really good. It's a good lesson. Um,
Yes.
well, we're going to take a little pivot and go into more of the website part of this. That was all very, very
Hmm.
good. So I appreciate you
Yes.
sharing that with us. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, let's talk about websites and kind of go in there. Let's kind of start off, and I'm not sure if this is your whole process of describing what you do, but what is
We
it
will
that you
see.
feel? What is it that you feel that photographers are lacking on their websites? So, like, what is something that really, like, pushed you and you're like, "Yeah, they
Oh,
need to add
it's
this."
I I've been seeing and edit so many websites for photographers, and what the thing is that all photographers are so eager to show what they can and what they can do, that when you're
Yep.
landing on the first page, it's like, I do this, and hire me.
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay, can we
Yeah.
slow down? Can we talk a little calmer? Small letters, don't have to scream out. I mean, if you meet a person, you don't jump into that one saying, I'm a photographer, I do this, do you
Right?
want to book a session with me? And also, did you know I do this? And oh, if you want to, you can add on this. And I also have, yeah. And oh, before I forget, you can sign up to my newsletter. Bye bye. That's not how it works in the real life, but that's the feeling
Yeah.
I
Oh my
got.
gosh, that
Because
is so true.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it comes from, because we are proud of ourselves. We want to
Yep.
show everything we got. And I've been talking to photographers, and they're like, "But yeah, I don't want them to miss out on something in case they are interested." But they don't
Mhm.
even know what they are interested of before they land on your website. So
Yeah.
I see this strategy is the first thing you should start backwards. What do you want them to do when they come to your website? Obviously it's to book a photo session, I get it, but
Yeah.
how to get there? You need to gently guide them, like first a
Mhm.
gentle introduction. Hi, I'm a photographer, are you interested? And meet them at their
Mhm.
emotional state where they are. I'm working with web
Yeah.
design, but it's very close to copywriting, but providing this value so the one that is visiting your site should feel connected and, okay, she
Yeah.
gets me. She knows what I want even before I know it myself, because oh, I struggle with this. And then
Yep.
move them forward. especially for a family photographer that often has like maternity, newborn, and family session. That's three different types of
Yep.
sessions. Let them choose that on the first page. And then
Mm,
say if they are interested in newborn, then they come to the newborn page, and there you can start talk
mm,
more in
yep.
detail about this is what I'm offering, and maybe you're interested into add, I don't know, video or having a huge frame on the wall once we are done. Like you
Mm,
need to take it step by step and not be afraid of then missing out what you are doing, or if it's something they want to buy from you that they don't know they want to buy. It's
right? Yeah.
and it's
So
your
what
job to,
would you Yeah, sorry. I didn't
yeah,
mean to cut
sorry,
you
no.
off.
No, to gently just guide them first, make sure
Mm,
what are they
yeah.
interested in, and then you can add on the more services or things that you want to say, and
Yeah.
just guide them gently, like if you take, pretend that you take them their hand and let them, and you take them and guide them and walk you through the website.
Yeah, that's such a good example because as I've done like led volunteers and things like that in the past, a lot of it is what is going to be a better moment for you when you come somewhere for the first time and someone just points you to where to go, or is it going to be someone that says, "Come with me, I'll show you where it is." It's like
Exactly.
what is going to be the better experience? And so I'm glad you bring that up cuz
Yeah.
it definitely is, like, walk them through that process because otherwise they're just gonna be like, "Oh, unclick because this is too
Yeah.
difficult to understand."
And the
So, no,
client
that's good.
experience starts when they're landing on your website. It's not
Mhm.
when you are sending out a box of gifts or gift cards or
Yep.
whatever. That's not your client experience. It's how they feel when they are connected to you. And that sets, you set that standard directly when they land on your website, how they should
Yeah.
feel when they are working with you. Do you take care of them, or are you just chaos? Like with
I
no
love it.
structure and giving
Right?
overwhelm.
Yeah, exactly. Just corral here.
Yeah.
So, what is your process? Like, what is the process when someone's like when they come to you? Let's say they come to your website. What is their process there
Oh,
for a
when they land on
photographer?
my process and want to work with me,
Yeah.
or oh God, you hit me completely wrong because I'm in a process of redoing my whole website.
Well, what was your old process and maybe change what you're changing? I don't know.
No, the thing is, but I can be a good example actually, because I started with templates and now I'm
Mm.
more into, I want to work one on one with persons. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
do custom websites. So thereof, I need to just revamp everything. But for me, I have a lot of different offerings. I have
Mm,
branding, I have my templates, I have custom websites, I have a lot of things. But what I really want to sell is custom websites and branding. So that's
mm,
the only thing I will sell on my website, even if I
okay.
have all the other offerings
Yeah.
behind. There are information on my websites about it, but it's nothing I highlight or guide them through. It's
Mhm.
something I can send them to after I've been on a call or in a conversation with them that, okay, this
Yeah.
might be better for you. But what I want to sell is my custom website and branding. And that is also what's visible
Yeah.
on my website.
Well, and I also love because, like, when you go to, like, your blog and things like that, there's a lot of, like, help with, like, continuing the process, like you
Yeah.
say, like, getting help with SEO to, like, know how to better get your search engine optimization or,
Yes.
how to use keywords best when, typing your copy, like, all those
Yeah.
things. Let's kinda talk about that and, like, what you notice is best to have on your website as far as, um let's say someone's looking for you, what are they like? What are you seeing things that are important? I know we kind of touched on this a little bit when we were saying what are people missing, but what is kind of important parts of that design process that you are showcasing?
When it comes to my blog, that's my main resource for driving traffic to my
Mm,
website, and all the content I'm adding on my blog is based on my ideal clients. What are they
yeah,
struggling with? So they will find me, and it's a little tricky for me as a designer because I want to do the work for them, but my content is showing how you can do it yourself.
yes,
So
yep, I get that.
Yeah, but at some point you feel like you need help with it when
Mhm.
you need to, because we all come to a certain level in our business by doing everything ourselves. That's what take us where we
Yeah.
are today, or to a certain level. But when you want to go beyond and
Yeah.
really not scaling but growing, you need to have help.
Yeah.
You need to have, because you can't deal
Mhm.
or handle all the tasks in your business to 100%. No one is that skilled in so many
Right.
areas. So you need to reach out to the experts in different areas to actually proceed. And that is, if we now we're changing the subject a little bit, but that's very
No, that's a great
because
thing that you put out there because that is something like I try to do all the things and people are always saying, "You're killing it." And I'm like, "I'm getting help." Because
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I can blog and I love to do like the blogging aspect, like
Hmm.
curating photos and things like that,
Yes.
but I'm like writing the copy and all that. Like I can write my experience, but I need help like getting that on Pinterest or on like getting
Yeah.
it ready for Google or just like how to make it so that it's a level of excellence and
Yes.
not just throwing out content, because there's got to be
Hmm.
strategy in it. So,
Exactly. And I also see women are doing this very often, think that they need to
mhm,
do everything themselves. And most of the small business photographers is females. They are women. And
mhm.
we have this pressure. I need to be a good girl. I need to do everything on my own, and are also afraid of spending money
I
because
was gonna
I should
say,
not
yeah,
spend money on
pinching dimes.
myself. It's,
Yep.
yeah, it's easy to spend money on everyone else, but not yourself, because then you get
And
hold back.
yes, and I
So,
think that's key because it's like when you start having those growing pains and you're feeling that overwhelm and you can't have that rest, I think that's when you're
mm,
like, "Okay, like I'm growing here," like
mm,
stepping back and realizing it. So what can I hand off to something else and
yes,
kind of um provide another avenue so that I can focus more in this area and
exactly.
that's so
And
true.
the yeah, and the thing is that when it comes to a website, if you have a really good website that is built on a strategy, that will hand off so much else on your
Mhm.
plate, both marketing, time, because your website will help you book your sessions for you. It's
Mm.
like an assistant in the background that is like, yeah, it got your back so you can
Yep.
relax. That's how I like to see it, because it's true. And then, you have this some kind of a hub. The website is the hub of your business where everything else comes out from, and then you need to have process that takes care of it. But
Yeah.
instead of you being in the middle of doing everything, your website can actually be a good assistant, just be there
Yeah.
for you, support you in
Exactly.
your goals, and do the heavy work for you, so you also can release time, mental space, and just
Yep, exactly.
enjoy the things you want to do, because no one wants to, if you started a photography business, you want to take photos, huh, right?
Yep.
You don't want to sit there and doing all the
It's funny because I have friends who are like, when you really think about it, 20% of our business is actually taking photos. The rest of it
yes,
is all
yeah,
business.
it's business.
Marketing, all the things.
Yeah,
But
yes.
it's funny, circling back to like landing on someone's website for the first time. I find it's interesting how us as photographers, we're so comfortable being behind the camera and
Mm,
not in front of the camera. So something that I know I've noticed and you probably as have as well is a lot of times like photographers aren't putting themselves on their website. Like they're
no.
talking about themselves and people are like, "Is that them?" Like I don't
Yeah.
who is that? So I think it's like one of those things and I'm sure you agree important to have yourself on there or be one of the
It
first
is.
things they see.
It is, because, and that is key. And when I talk to photographers, the first thing they say, I need to stand out in my business. It's standing out in my area or rank in Google searches. That's the two main
Mhm.
things I hear. But to stand out, that is super simple, because just be
Mhm.
you. Everyone
Yeah.
is doing the same. Everyone in your area that has a photography business is taking pictures. Maybe
Mhm.
they have different styles, but what makes them choose you is you,
Exactly.
what
No,
you
that's
do,
so
how you
true
do it.
because yeah,
Yeah,
like I mean anyone could take pictures the way you take them. But
yeah,
I mean, when I notice for mine is like people, which this I have to say this humbly because I don't mean it to sound I don't mean it to sound like I feel a lot for myself on that, but, like, they come to me because of my personality or
Yeah.
because of my level of service
Yes.
towards my clients that they've
Mm.
heard or have been recommended. Um, Me as a wedding photographer, like, people seeing me, like, working at weddings, and they're like, "I wanna hire her
Yeah.
because A, B, and C." But it's true, like, my work can look just like anybody else's, but how is your level of service? How are you connecting? So, that's so
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
But
that's the job of the website to
yep.
show more of you and what you bring, and not just like, "Hi, I'm happy you were here. I would love to take your photos," because yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of obvious that you are.
Well, and I even find it funny where it's like, I mean, yeah, you can have a photo with your like, people when I get headshots, they're like, "Do you want a photo with your camera?" And I'm like, "Not really," because that's what they always see. Like, they're gonna
Yeah.
see that when I'm working, but I'd rather them see me as a person
Yes.
first. Um, which is so funny, but it's like or in their copy, they'll say, like, "I love to do photography," and you're
Yeah,
like, "Well,
that's
I
kind of
hope so."
obvious. But
What
it's
else
better.
about
I
you?
Yeah, but you can say also I love to take photos of, I don't know, moms who are busy, and just talk a little bit more
Yeah.
specific of what you like to take photos of, and not
Mhm.
just talk about them, talk with them,
Yeah.
because that's also what I hear. I would love to take photos of couples in love. Okay, but it's better if you are saying that I love taking pictures of your love, or so
Yeah.
you can look back in that in 30 years or whatever. More like
Yeah.
this emotional, hit emotional. And this is
Mhm.
more copywriting than web design, but it's all connected. But the value, what do you give
Yeah.
them? What do you provide them? What problems are you solving? And this is
Yeah,
also an
that's
interesting
true.
aspect, because that's the first part when I work with someone, is to actually nail down their client. Who do you want to work with, and what
Yeah.
problems do they have? Oh, yeah, they want pictures. Yeah, they want pictures. But why do they want it? Oh, they can't take them themselves. Okay, why can't they take themselves? And that is this why can be different
Mhm.
depending on which client you want to work with. It could
Yeah.
be time, it could be difficulties, it could be no interest, it could be just, so you just keep asking this why to every question
Yeah.
you ask when you're working with your ideal client. So you really know
Mm.
what they are looking for and what they want.
Yeah.
Often they don't even know it, but when they come to your website and read about it, it's like, oh,
Yep.
she's talking to me. This is how I feel.
Yeah, I love that because that's so true. Because it's like, who are you and I think that's so great to, like, focus on, like and I think a lot of times we're so used to screaming to the masses and we
Yes.
wanna, like, attract everybody, but when you hone in and attract the one that you're seeking,
Mm-hmm.
you'll gather those clients. They will be more
Yes.
ideal. I think it's funny because this is going a little off websiting, but
It's
when
okay.
you scream to the masses, you don't get
Mm.
your ideal client.
No,
And you
no,
wanna speak to that client you wanna work with, not the
exactly.
ones that are giving you all the headaches and issues
No,
and things you don't wanna deal with. So I think that's so true, and it starts on your website. So
it starts on the website.
that's so true. But,
Yeah.
um, so what is something that let's see, yeah, like, kinda share with me the process of, like, now when somebody wants to contract you to design a website for them. Like, what does that look like? Other than you saying, "What is your ideal client?" But, like, what is that process from, like, start to finish?
From start to finish, when someone is reaching out, I kind of immediately, I'm booking a strategy call to just
Mm,
talk more. Where are you in business, and where do you want to be in your business?
mm,
Where is your goal? Because a website, if you're gonna change it and the branding, it will needs to come with a change. You don't change it just for fun. Or I want it to look more pretty, because that won't take you somewhere. It needs to
yeah.
have a goal. What's your goal? And once that is like,
Mhm.
usually it's 30, 40 minutes just talking about the clients, kind of egocentric time.
Right?
So if you
That's
like
funny.
talking to about yourself, you're welcome to book a call with me.
That should be your new
Yeah,
slogan.
money. Yes, money slogan. Yeah, and then we will find out what is the solution, how to get there.
Mm,
And once the process starts, and we start to work together, we start with the client. Who are you serving? And yeah, how can you help this person? What struggles do you take off their
mm,
shoulders? Um, and from there, we have I will have a workbook that is kind of heavy doing all this work to really find out, and it's more or less the same kind of questions again and again, but in
mm.
different angles to really nail it down. And after that, we have a new call where we have a new egocentric call when we are just talking about the clients. And then we have a strategy. Okay, this is what your website should do, the main goal, and how we should. So it's kind of a little business strategy in all about how to work with it.
Mm.
And then it's me designing, and it goes a little bit back and forth with draft, and is this okay and this okay, and then together we are tweaking it, and then boom, it's launch day and everyone is happy. The
I
inquiries
love it.
is coming in.
I love it. So let's kind of talk. What do you find photographers are doing as far as like branding that is kind of a disservice to them? Like, as far it could be like colors, it could be I don't know,
Having
like
a
any of the
logo
things.
made from Canva.
Oh
That
gosh,
is
an
don't
AI
you.
generated logo. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I wouldn't say that is a bad thing. It's if you just start out, that is just fine. But as soon as you want to reach another level, you need to
Mm,
have something that is really done for your client that resonates and speak to them.
yeah.
Many things that the logo and branding is just a pretty face, but it's so
Hmm.
much deeper in two aspects, both for yourself, especially when you are a photographer, because your business, your brand is you. So it
Hmm.
needs to feel personal to you. It needs to feel like this brand is me. This is feel
Yeah.
because it gives you confidence. And when you get the confidence, you believe in yourself. And then you believe in your services, you believe in your prices. So it's like it goes in positive
Yeah.
waves. And on the other side, it needs to resonate with your dream client. Are
Yeah.
you a very editorial photographer that is taking very, stylish, modelish, Vogue kind of pictures? Then you need one kind of logo. If you're a family photographer that is working with children that could be a little bit more playful, then you need another logo because that's not really the same thing. So
Yeah. They
it's
can
all.
definitely clash.
Yeah, but it's all when they land on your website. Okay, your branding is not just on your website, it's in other places too. But for
Mm,
example, when someone is landing on your website, you have like milliseconds
yeah.
to get the attention of the one is
Hmm.
there. And if they are looking for a wedding photographer, or if it's a family photographer, and what type of person you are, immediately when you see this branding and the logo and the colors, that's like, oh, this is what I'm looking for. And then you keep on scrolling. So it's more than just being pretty. It's something
Hmm.
that should capture attention and make them feel like, oh, this is for me.
Yeah.
So, and many misses that part, and that is not reached by creating a logo in
Yes.
Canva.
Do you remember back when websites first started doing this like huge hero image and it was the only thing you would see and like people would be like, what do I do now? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and they didn't know they had to scroll down, like keep
Yes. Mhm.
scrolling. And so,
Yeah.
or click something to enter the website. And I think about that when photographers just want to plaster all their
Mm.
photos all over their
Yeah.
website. And
Yes.
it's like, okay, where are they going from here?
Yeah, you
Like,
need to guide them. You need to
communicate.
kind of,
Yeah.
from the first second, it's saying, take my hand, I will walk you through. And it's so
Yeah.
funny when you say a lot of photos on the website, because that's another thing I see many do. Yes, oh, this is my gallery page, and then it's a ton of different pictures from different sessions, just mixed in a huge big gallery. Don't
Yeah.
do that. It needs to be structured session by session. And it's also both for the user friendliness of the one that is visiting your site, that they can get a whole view of, okay, this is how a complete session can look like. This is a gallery that I
Yeah.
receive can look like. I can get this variety of pictures, and for SEO, because you can highlight this gallery is taking at this place, for example, at this location. So having them all mixed together is a big no-no. It needs to be
Yeah.
categorized.
Well, and I think sometimes putting more images can be a disservice
Yeah.
in the aspect of, like, you could have one really impactful, powerful image, but then you can have one that you're like, okay, this is their work, but also
Mm.
this. But it's like,
Mm.
why did they pick that?
Yeah.
Or it's a beautiful image and your eye is drawn one place, but then you're like,
Yes.
your eye is confused. And it's just so
It should
interesting.
be highly curated. It should only be your
Yes.
best picture. I say at 10, maximum 5 pictures for each gallery, for each session. It
Mm,
could be if you're a wedding photographer, of course, you will post more pictures because you have covered many more hours and
yeah.
many other things. But still, you don't need 3 pictures of them cutting the cake. You don't need like
Right.
just the best ones from the day. And
Hmm.
because it is overwhelming. And sometimes you have those clients who want to see them all, but then you can send it to them maybe after you've been in contact with them and they have requested more information, but
Yeah, exactly.
not overwhelming and only showing the top notch pictures of yours. And that is goes for everywhere around your website.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I know for me, like, I have very minimal, but then I have it where they can like open a full gallery and see
Yeah.
if they wanted to. Like, if you want to know what a full wedding gallery looks like, here's an
Yes.
option. But it's not overwhelming. Like, here's a full wedding gallery
It's not
shouting
the first thing
at
you
you.
give them,
Yes.
like, hi, I'm a
Yes.
photographer, look at this.
Like, if they keep going in and kind of viewing things and they want
Yes.
to see more,
When
then
they
you know they're
have,
interested.
yeah,
Yeah. But
when they have
yeah,
started the
exactly.
journey on your website, when they are
Yes.
halfway through, then like, okay, if you're interested, if you need this, you can look at it, definitely. So that's a good thing.
So, what is your favorite part of the designing process?
Oh, I have two. First
Okay.
is these egocentric strategy calls when I'm talking with the clients, because that I really, really like when we are collaborating thoughts and ideas
Yeah.
and build something. I really like that part to see how we can do it in the best way. Second is actually the design part when I have my earphones and I'm listening to an audiobook and I can just shut down for like hours and just dig it, just
Oh,
disconnect
yeah.
from everything else, go into my zone of genius. That's that's what I like the most. But I also like to see the result. I like to, see and the happiness of the clients, not just
Yeah.
because they received something new, but the happiness that they feel for themselves because they have invested in themselves. They have done something to taken a step closer to their goal. That is a happiness that, yeah, that even makes me more happier than actually
Yeah.
doing the work for them, to see the happiness and feel it and also experience long after, when we have contact, to see how things process and how things going.
Yeah, that's good. When you're in that designing process, what are the different types of platforms that you're designing on? And what do you feel that might be like the best out of those, if you feel there's one that's best? Or what are the pros
Oh,
and cons of each?
yes, I've been trying so many different platforms for my own photography business. When I did my first website, I didn't know a thing about web design,
Same.
but I created it. And then you Google and look at the other photographers, like, oh, that looks so good, I want to have it, and I didn't know where to find it, how to do
Yeah.
it, and where have they done it, where.
Yep.
So it took me like 4 or 5 platforms to finally land on Show It. And
Okay.
that's the one I actually recommend. It's known among photographers, it's made for photographers from the beginning, but what I like is the total freedom, because photographers, they
Yep.
are creative people, they are not just want a basic website, they need it to look pretty and to have the
Hmm.
features and to have control, and you have full control over the mobile version, which I guess everyone that's been on a platform that you can't design your mobile design by
Mm.
itself, it's very frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you can look at my website, but it looks best in a desktop. Please don't look at the mobile version
Well,
because
and
they
it's
don't.
crazy you say that because like I still find when I'm finding like my Google Analytics or whatever, I find that there are still a lot of people using desktop, but when you think about it, where are we mostly on our
Yeah,
phones?
on the mobiles.
And it's
Yes, we
like
are on the
your
phone.
mobile view is probably the more important
Yeah.
than the desktop these days. So you have to
Yes.
think about that too.
Yeah, and
So
it's
crazy.
important. It's the most important, and it looks good there. So
Yeah.
no, I always recommend Show It, and Show It is the only place I design websites on.
Yeah, and that's what I use, and I started at like an all-in-one, so it was like a gallery that could have a website and stuff, but it was you were constantly having barriers where
Yeah.
you're like, "Well, I wanna be able to do this," but you can't, and
No.
so and Show It is so easily it's easy to use, but there's a lot it's robust, so it's
Hmm.
easy to use off at the beginning, but there's so much more you can learn,
Yes.
and
It has
from your
potential.
experience too, like the
Mm.
traffic, the SEO, all of that, like compared to others, correct? You
Yes.
find that to be like the more pivotal
Yes.
thing.
I don't understand why I didn't choose that from the first place, because all the platforms I've been at, it's like it's always something. And as you say, you have this all-in-one platforms that offers a
Mm,
lot of services. It's and it's practical, yes, and it's cost effective. Like you're getting a better price deal when you have it all in
yeah,
once. But stop being so cheap at yourself. You mean it costs money to make money, and you get what you pay for. That's it.
it's
And we
exactly.
and I think this is also, it's perfect in the beginning, but when you are reaching a certain level that you feel like, I want to grow, I want to reach my goals, I want to do this, then you need to change things. And
Hmm.
that is like, yeah, and your website is that important. You
Hmm.
can't like compromise when it comes to your website and its function. And also, it's a heavy work to change. It's a lot of time
Yeah,
waste if you start somewhere else and then gonna change to another platform a year later because, okay, this was not so good because I want this and this and this.
yeah.
For sure, there is no limits. It's kind of everything you need. I say kind of, because there are some things depending on what you want. Like, you can add a web shop, yes, but it's not maybe the best one if you're gonna sell like 1,000 items. But I don't guess photographer is doing that. But you can
Oh
also
man.
connect it to the other services you have.
Hmm.
So I mean, there is no real limitations if you don't really have super specific things, and
Yeah.
often you can solve them too. So
It's a new year, and you need to make more sales and bring in more revenue while also delivering your clients a gallery that wows them. In order to do that, you need CloudSpot. They have so many things to utilize. You can even set up your own store and receive revenue from places like White House Custom Color, Miller's Professional Imaging, and by selling your own digital files. I mean, what's better than continuing the sale after your work is done? Well, I'm glad you asked because now they have CloudSpot Studio where you can book sessions, keep track of clients, sign contracts, and so much more. This is the exact platform I use when I book my mini sessions. Not convinced? Head to episode 18 and hear from Gavin Wade, founder of CloudSpot, and hear what he has to say about it. Okay, now that you know what it's about, head to CloudSpot and check it out for free. When you want to decide to sign up, you can get 20% off your first year by using the link in the show notes. That's so good. And so, like, when you are designing with a client and they, let's say you deliver the design, are you more of a like support after? Are you do you have multiple things that you offer where you're like, okay, I will make changes for you and have a rate for that? Or is it more like, okay, you it's time to fly out of
I'll
the
see you.
nest, you
Bye
know?
bye. I'm like the mama bird
So,
putting them out in the nest. Now
yes.
you fly.
So what does that look like for you? Like when someone's been
Oh,
delivered their website?
oh, this is the part where, it's the best and the worst character of, for me, being a businesswoman come into place, because I feel like I'm friend with all my clients. I
Oh,
have this
same.
friendly, yes, and I don't want to change that because that's who I am and I like to have that relationship. So I'm going to be there through the launch, and I have checkups like a week after. Is everything okay? Does you need anything else from me? I have it a 1 month later still. Is everything okay? Is it
Mm,
something that you feel is not working? So I constantly have, just
mm.
checking in to see how things going. And if anything is related to the project, that's some details that need to be sorted out or fixed, I do it. But when it comes to later on, if okay, can we add this page? I need this also. Now I find out this, then there will be an additional charge. But from the project and the launch, I'm there guiding, helping, because it's a lot. Specifically, like blog is a
Oh,
good
yeah.
example, because that is so strongly connected with your SEO, and that is
Mhm.
nothing that is built and fixed in the web design process. I just give
Yeah.
you the resources and tool. This is here you have the foundation to stand up, but you need to actually post the blog post. You need to
Yep.
publish them. You need
Yep.
to do them. But I'm there to guide. Do this. Do
Yeah.
like that. Write like this. Yeah, always there.
Empowering
Getting the
them
brand.
in the
Yes,
same with
and
additional
guiding them,
support.
because I
Yes.
have the knowledge and it's still connected to the service I've been delivered, even if I'm not doing the work
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
at that part.
Love that. Well, what as we like finish up for today, which
Yeah,
I've been so happy to have you on here. This has been
it's been
so
so
great.
fun.
Um, you want to offer something to photographers, and I believe you kind of talked about it a little bit. So, do you want to share what that is with everybody that you're
Yes,
offering today?
yeah, we've been talking about value, that communicating your value of what you provide to your clients is the most important or the biggest aspect that helps you stand out in your market, being you. So I have a workbook that will help you to nail the problem that you are solving for your clients, and also where to place them and how to communicate that on your website. So that is free to download.
Yes, and that will be located in the show notes. So if you're looking for that, listeners, you can find that there. Um, Now, where can we find you on the web, Josephine?
Oh, you can find me at my website, that is designs with an S by josephine.com. And on Instagram, also designs by Josephine with an underline at the end. So it's designs
Well,
with S. That's what most people miss.
yes, I get it. I get that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Um, yeah, so this has been so great. I'm so excited. If you're also listening and you're looking for the Cameras and Coffee podcast, you can find that Cameras and Coffee podcast on Instagram, or you can find it at karahaines.com/podcast. And we're so happy that you had listened in. But until next time, my friends, thank you, Josephine.
Oh, thank you for
And
having
cheers.
me.
Yes.